Hey, this is my first Fromm video, and I chose to do mine about addiction, and I think there was another video about addiction, but I'll try not to overlap as best as I can and try and provide some of my own thoughts. So addiction. What we learned was that it's basically a pretty big disease, and that's often overlooked by a lot of people and outsiders to this world of drugs. They often think, it was their choice to get wrapped into this whole situation, and sometimes there have been some bad choices made, but there are people with genetic problems or genetic tendencies to become addicted and then not be able to get off the drug as easily as others. And it's also a well-known fact that with the current array of drugs, there's the chances of getting addicted in even as little as a month are very, very high. And so how does this work? Well, the brain starts to get rewired, and it's being almost genetically modified in a way that it cuts out conscious thought process to say, no, don't do it, or you might say, even I want to quit, but there's a part of my brain that's just overriding that, overriding all of my inhibitions, and there will be certain triggers to overcome for people, like they see a certain chair that they used to do all their drugs in, or something that triggers an old mindset, all that excitement and all the good feelings of that drug, and it all just comes back to them. And yeah, those are pretty hard to overcome, apparently. And now, personally, this kind of scares me because it almost seems like if you have these genetic tendencies to become addicted to these drugs, you have no control over this happening to you. But I mean, we obviously know that's not true. We can prepare ourselves and give ourselves knowledge and education on the subject, and I think that's just one of the most important things that you can do, besides putting fear into someone. What I like to call fear versus knowledge. But yeah, you always say that I'll never be one of those people, but almost all of them have said the same thing right before you, and a different set of circumstances can happen to you along your life, and you don't know what will happen to you. You don't know what will make you do something, and um, we're young people. We don't know ourselves fully yet, and I guess the best thing we can do is educate ourselves. And so I think to understand what is actually going on with the drugs, mentally and physically, and what it does to someone, this can give you knowledge, and I think our school is taking the steps to do that with bringing in Jeff Wolfsberg. He's a pretty renowned drug expert, and he's giving us that knowledge and education on a subject, so that we can have those tools and skills to better make decisions that will stray us away from drugs, or at least know maybe if we have those addictive tendencies. Because when people want to learn about drugs and they don't have the proper education, they usually turn to trying it, and that's, as we see today, that's an awful cycle, and it leads to a lot of hurt people, a lot of hurt families, and just basically, fear pales in comparison to knowledge. Like, say you're a parent and you put the fear into your child that you don't want to do drugs. It's bad. It's bad. It's bad. It's bad. And it does them no good because they don't know why. They need to have some understanding. Like, for example, this is a corny example. If you had an apple and I told you, no, this apple is really bad, don't eat it. I've seen people do it and you just don't want to do it. Don't do it. As opposed to this apple's poisonous. Once it gets in your body, the poison's going to run through your bloodstream, and your heart's going to stop in a few days. There's a difference there. It's education, over putting the fear of God into someone. Eventually, they're going to want to break out of that fear and have some freedom. It's almost like a natural tendency for kids today. And I know that's a pretty basic example. There's a lot of variability to it, but it shows the basic idea that basically knowledge over fear. So that's all I have.